We live in a world where successful shows, movies, books, etc. get sequels. If something does well, it usually turns into a series. There's not only two of them, but there's like 5 or 10 or 20 of them. Dozens and dozens of seasons if it's successful enough. Everything's a soap opera now. But there's something so special about a self-contained piece of media, a one-off, right? A book, a movie, a show with no sequel, where they just don't do it, where they say something and they walk away and it's just cool. It's like a character in a TV show that walks away from an explosion and doesn't look back. You know what I mean? It's just cool. It's so rare that it happens because money, it's just profitable, right? If something's popular, why wouldn't you make more of it? That's why things like Squid Games happen, where it was supposed to be one season and that's it. It was a standalone work, and it's pretty clearly designed that way. Like it just feels like it. It just feels like this is a one season thing. And then it goes viral, it gets super successful, and what do? They announce Squid Games Season 2, and I'm calling it right now, Squid Games Season 2 is going to suck ass. The best example of this is The Walking Dead. It had one good season, 6 good episodes, hell, 6 great episodes, but it was never good again. The Walking Dead has been airing for like 15 years now. There's been a dozen video games, like I don't know how many seasons, so many things. Not once has it been good since that first season. Not once, sir. It's crazy. And that gets to the topic of this video. I found one. I watched an anime that is 7 episodes long. It is self-contained. It's designed to be a one-off experience. They never did a sequel, never did anything dumb with it, and it was amazing. I'm talking about Ping Pong, the animation. No spoilers here. I'm not going to reveal anything or who wins any matches or anything, but yeah, it's literally called Ping Pong, the animation. It's based on a manga that was called Ping Pong, and it's incredible. It's about high schoolers who do competitive ping pong. Like they're competing in some tournament to try to go to the nationals for ping pong. And it starts out with 2 friends in episode 1. One of them's a loudmouth, one of them's really quiet. And they're both really good at ping pong. And they're like going to the high school gym to practice ping pong with the old eccentric coach. And there's a whole cast of characters, kids from other schools, like really challenging opponents and some goofier players, and like one dude who immediately in the first episode loses and like goes off on a spirit quest, like all these different archetypes of people. And there's so much that I like about this show. It was a recommendation from my friend on the internet, Zero, Szerro, from the Champions TCG community, from the MFers community, and other things. He has said multiple times it's his favorite anime, and I decided to watch it based on that recommendation. And yeah, I totally can see why it would be someone's favorite anime. What it really does is it gets at the spirit of competitive gaming and competitive sports and just like competition and what it means to be in like PvP, like 1v1 scenarios competing. But before we get to that, I'll mention that the animation style is really weird and really interesting. So the first thing you notice when you start watching is the animation style, which is, it's kind of scribbly. Like, I don't know if you're old like me, you might have watched Ed, Edd and Eddy back in the day, and that show was kind of like a scribbly animation style. Like, it's all kind of like jumping around a little bit, and it's like got a scribbling quality to it. And in a different way, I feel like Ping Pong has this very like kind of dense but messy animation style. There's a lot going on the screen. They do a lot of split screens where they like break it into like not just 3 or 4, but like 6 or 7 little frames of different characters' faces reacting to a situation. It's just got, I don't know if I'm describing it right, but it's like, I don't know if the lines are kind of thin. Everything just looks almost like a scribble on a page, but it's also very, very good. It's a very, very good style, and it's really enjoyable. And then, of course, they animate a bunch of ping pong matches. And while the show doesn't feature like giant 10-minute uncut matches or anything, there's lots of short sequences and stuff. They still do a really good job of animating the ping pong, and it is a fun trick to be like, okay, can you guys do this? Can you animate ping pong? And it's like, yeah, they totally got it. They did a great job with that. Getting to the spirit of the anime, it is a really interesting analysis of competitive gaming and sports and competition. It's even though, or maybe especially because it's just about high school ping pong, which is kind of silly It's kind of arbitrary. The arbitrariness of ping pong, no offense to ping pong players, I just don't, it's not like a mainstream sport. It's talked about all the time. It's usually something you play, at least in my life, in someone's basement or backyard when they're like, hey, I got a ping pong table. Okay, cool, let's go. It's that kind of thing, right? But in the show, the characters are dead serious about their desire to win these games and to be great at the sport of ping pong. And isn't every game arbitrary? Isn't every game, whether it's me streaming playing card games, whether it's, Tom Brady in the NFL, or, proper football outside of America, what we call soccer, where y'all have many, many incredible players, like, is that any less of a game? Is there anything less arbitrary about soccer or Gods Unchained, Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, chess, basketball, tennis, like whatever it is? Is it any different with ping pong? Not really. It's all games. And the pursuit of winning, the experience of trying to win, is an intense experience. It tests your emotions. It shows you what your limitations are. It shows you what it's like to win and to be better, to be more talented than someone else at a certain thing. And it also, of course, shows you how to be worse than someone else and what it's like when you have to lose. And when you lose repeatedly, and maybe when you really don't want to lose and they get you anyway, or maybe they're an asshole and then they beat you and you don't even score 1 point. Like, it really teaches you some stuff, right? And if you really try to be good at any competitive endeavor, the emotional intensity of that is quite undeniable. It's very high. It's heartbreaking when you have some of these losses, and it is incredibly triumphant when you win. The show Ping Pong, the animation, in my opinion, gets at all of these deep feelings, and the funny kind of premise of high school ping pong as the way to explore these feelings just kind of works so well, because as silly as it is, the characters are really interested in this. They really care about it. To them, it's life. Ping pong is life, and it's the same that you might feel when you're trying to grind Fortnite, like whatever, you know what I mean? Like any game. If you're trying to play poker or something, it's something really cool about that. And the characters represent different types of people in the competitive landscape of sports, or I think of gaming, because that's what I do, is Gods Unchained and other card games. It's like one character is very quiet and intensely skilled, but he isn't that motivated. Another character is a loudmouth and really wants to win and is pretty good, but he's not the best, so he gets destroyed by the best players. And like one dude is just like a stone cold killer who only cares about winning, and he's like muscular and he's like cool and he's like strong and he's bald and he's just like no one can beat him, you know what I mean? And there's various other characters as well. It's just like they have these different archetypes of people that represent different states you might inhabit. Like as one person, sometimes you might be character A, the other time you might be character B. Like they're really quiet. In the first episode, you meet the two characters who are friends. One's loud, one's quiet. The loud one's Pecco, and the other one is Smile is the nickname. And right away, it's like, okay, there are times in your life when you might be the loudmouth, and there's times in your life when you might be the quiet one. Like it depends on what mood you're in and who you're with. And it just kind of like represents these different facets of life, but it also represents different people you meet, because you're not necessarily going to see yourself in every character. You might relate to like 2 or 3 of them, and the other ones you won't really relate to. It is one hell of an anime. It is really good, and at 11 episodes, it is not too long. So I feel like sometimes with these animes, listen, I just finished watching Dragon Ball Z after watching the original Dragon Ball. Rest in peace, Toriyama. Super sad that news. That was so sad. But that aside, it's a lot of episodes, and now people are telling me, okay, Flux, you should watch One Piece. One Piece is amazing. It lives up to the hype, and I believe it. It probably does live up to the hype. But that has 1,000 episodes. Of course, I don't have to watch them all. But the point is, these animes can have a lot of episodes. And it's kind of nice to have one, especially for me, having just finished Dragon Ball Z. It was nice to watch Ping Pong, the animation, since it is only 11 episodes long, and it's a self-contained story, and it ends with a very strong resolution. So it's like there couldn't have been a sequel, really. I mean, they would have had to work around some stuff. So it's very good. It's just a good-ass anime. I really recommend you watch this one. Ping Pong, the animation. I watched it on Crunchyroll. I'm not sure where else you might find it, but all 11 episodes are on Crunchyroll, and it is so good. So if you have watched it, let me know in the comments. What do you think about this anime? If you haven't watched it, go check it out and then come back and let me know what you thought. Either way, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next video. That's it. Thank you. Flux signing out. Peace.